Yeah, so what we see here is annealing of cast iron with an induction heater. So that is essentially a huge coil we see here, and that is a tube made from ceramic wool, so it's hollow inside, and so we can put an iron item in that coil here in the center of that coil. Then we got insulation around that, and then this is filled with sand, and it's just plain dried sand. And the iron is then here sits inside that coil and gets heated up. And the induction heater heats iron up to about that Curie point, so that is about 750 or so centigrades. So and beyond that, it gets harder and harder to heat iron by induction. So we reach about 800, 900 centigrades with all that insulation here, but not really far beyond that. So that is the sweet spot for decarbonization, because at that temperature, at about 950 centigrades, the iron carbides, they decompose. And so we got a separation of the carbon and the iron. So after about 12 hours, most of that iron carbide got decomposed to essentially austatite and graphite, making the cast iron piece much more durable, so it becomes essentially malleable cast iron, which is much different than traditional cast iron, like gray cast iron or white cast iron. So it becomes to a certain degree bendable, even malleable. So and that is what really is that all about. If we promote this process even further, if we let it run for 24 or 30 hours, we really see that more and more of that carbon gets separated from the iron, and we convert the white cast iron to the so-called American cast iron, which is black hard malleable cast iron, yeah, where we got a good separation of carbon from the iron, and which is now malleable cast iron, yeah, so which is really bendable, much more tough and durable than cast iron, white and gray. So that is really the trick about that annealing process. Yeah, that was the technique of converting or making useful materials out of white cast iron. And just by this heat treatment. Another thing is if we allow a slight excess of oxygen, then we also start to see that slowly on the surface the carbon starts to burn off, and we get a steely layer that over time starts to grow inside that material. So if we let it run for long enough a time, we can then also convert this black hard malleable cast iron to white hard malleable cast iron, which is essentially a malleable cast iron where all that carbon got burned off by the diffusion process on the surface of the iron. At the elevated temperature, the carbon starts to burn off, and then by just an equilibration process in that material, by migration of carbon atoms inside that iron, we slowly can reduce and burn off more or less all of that more or less all that carbon inside the iron. So that of course takes much longer time. We are at about 24 hours. We see about 1 millimeter of burn off rate, and then it starts to become slower and slower and slower. So, but yeah, that is really just like an add-on. Already the black hard malleable cast iron is really tough material, good for almost all purposes, but sees widespread use in industry even nowadays. And that is really an ancient process. So of course back then, in 2,000 years ago, they hadn't had induction heater, of course. They had big furnaces where they subjected that iron to days and several days of annealing in that furnace, and then you get this malleable. Yeah, that's just annealing of cast iron with induction heater. Take it over.